Okay. Are we live? Are we live? Yep, looks like we are. I cannot say good morning, however. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. Today is Thursday, April the 17th, 2025. And I really, the very first thing I want to talk about while I'm shuffling. Oh, by the way, if you're watching me live now, you're watching on New Light Streaming Love. If you stumble across this later on Sassy C or Sheila, it will be a recording. Okay, because I will be uploading this over there afterwards. At any rate, if you happened to tune into yesterday's reading and you heard uh, the alchemy elementals. This was probably in the first 10 minutes of the reading yesterday. I also shared with you guys that I was going to our local wise woman circle yesterday evening. And I have to tell y'all, I love it when this kind of thing happens. Okay, so we get to the circle, and the facilitator of the circle, Elena, I actually had her on a conscious conversation once. I'm hoping to do so again. She proceeds to tell all of us that she is going to be participating in something called a fire dance locally. And it is a type of gathering where it involves ecstatic dance. It's a 3-day event, and she's telling us all about it. And it's all about the ancestors. I'm sorry, yesterday's card was fire, tribal fire, or ancestor fire, sun. And it was all about the ancestors and fire and tribe. And I'm sorry, I cannot. And I had already shared with you guys. And I even told her this morning because she called me just a little while ago to say that, because immediately when she told me that, at the circle, I had to tell her about the reading because I can't unsee that. I had already stated that and I told her this morning, I feel as though I might have been mingling my energy with hers. She too is a projector. And so I feel like I picked that up and it was in the reading. Um, I don't know. It's just very interesting to me, as I said, to have had that happen. And it's really unfortunate that my lungs would not allow me to attend something like that, because I don't know, like I said, I would even have to go back and hear what all I said, but I do know that the ancestors, mine in particular, have been reaching out over the last few weeks. As you know, if you've watched several of the readings, it's shown up in especially in the alchemy elementals deck. So, having said that, that's so interesting to me now. And so I will be, she has done me the great honor of asking me to tune in and sort of be with her energetically. She is moving through this experience, uh, not this weekend, but next weekend. So I will absolutely be doing that. Uh, And I feel very honored that she has asked me to do so. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but how cool is that? It is very cool to me. So, what else do we have today? So far, we've got from the Journey of Love deck, we got card number 68, Drop into Your Heart, which, I think is something that we are moving through on this planet. That's part of the evolution that we're moving through. According to, oh, good morning, Mark. According to, or not good morning, I guess it's morning for you still, so I can say that to you because I know that you are a couple of hours behind me, but it is not morning here anymore. Personally, I feel that the Joshua channelings, which you can listen to here on this channel, as the author did give me permission to record and share that with you guys. You'll find it in a playlist, both here on New Light Streaming Love and on Sassy Seer Sheila. Surrender your attachment to results. That's a good advice. That here on this planet, that's what we're doing. We're moving from a ego-based consciousness into a heart-based consciousness. And it takes a while to do. It's not something that we can just, I mean, I think that anything is possible and maybe we could. However, I kind of feel like, for me anyway, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're trying something new, or at least I've definitely heard this, and it sort of rings true for me in that we are, for the first time ever in all of creation, trying this ascending idea embodied. In other words, not dropping the physical vessel, trying for the first time to see if we can handle staying in these vessels as they upgrade and moving from that ego-based consciousness into a heart-based consciousness. And it's a definite choice. I see it as a definite choice that, of course, not everyone is making to experience it that way. And even if one has made that choice to experience it in that way, I think it is also still, at least it would appear. And I fall into this category where there's been so much physical damage done to this vessel prior to all of this upgrading that's taking place. Now, everything seems to be, at the moment, copacetic with this vessel. It fluctuates. Trust me when I tell you that. Ooh, this one, huh? Swan. We've had that card before. Keyword beauty. It fluctuates as to whether or not. And I was asked to consider what my thoughts were about death and dying, my own internal guidance. And it really, truly is just a transition from one state of being to another. I love it when, folks will agree that, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It simply moves in and out of form and then get all twisted up over death. It's moving from one form of existence to another. And so, I don't know, but at any rate, that's how I feel at the moment. And I guess we shall see. And honestly, with that whole thing of yesterday, I can't unsee that for sure. The Jihabya came out from the fairies today. Isn't that interesting? We got quite an interesting. Oh, and this card showed up for some reason, showing itself to me. The bull, sacrifice is the key word. This card has not come about at all. Never seen this card in this deck, so that's interesting. Okay, so who wants to go first? I think Jihabya is actually screaming the loudest. Card number 61, which is a 7 numerologically, and to me, 7 is a divine number. The key word, oops, I forgot. I keep forgetting this. I hope, Mark, was that okay? And sometimes it sounds fine live, but in the recordings, it's a little weird. So is that better when I pulled it over? When I went to do this and it wasn't there, that's why when I noticed it. Okay, so the key words for Jihabya are imaginary fears, unreal hazards, realistic caution. He refuses to tell me what the G in his name stands for because he says the more we know about him, the less power he has, and the harder it is to do his job. This tells you a lot about him. His powers lie in our imaginations and fears, not in the real world, not in any of the real worlds. This is the wicked thing in the closet who keeps frightened children awake at night with eerie snuffling, wuffling sounds. But when you turn on the light and open the door, he isn't there. Brian wrote, he exists only through the collection of our fears. Habya thrives on fears, getting stronger and stronger until we face him. He is a sham, a tiny fear blown all out of proportion, and the smallest positive thought will banish him. All of fairyland knows this, and none is afraid of him. Jihabya's job is to wave our imaginary fears in front of us, making them look as alive and real as he can. And I maintain that is due to my own personal experience with a character that was me, another portion of me doing its damnedest to scare the living daylights out of me. I feel like this is a very real thing. Yes, it wasn't stable in volume before. Well, thank you, Mark. I have to remember to pull it over because it's very much in my way. So I have to remember to pull it over when I'm recording and push it back when I'm not. And we have the power as to whether or not I was frightened, but I already had the advice from my housemate Lisa on board. Thank goodness. Fear really is false evidence appearing real. And it is an invitation and one that you don't have to accept. And for me, I feel like there is a huge difference in being frightened and moving over into full blown fear. There's a difference there. And, something can startle you because you weren't expecting it and you weren't paying attention or whatever. But moving over into full blown fear is placing, at least for me, in that moment, I was so glad I had that had that on board, having had that conversation with Lisa on board, that I didn't move over into full blown active fear, because that which entered my room was asking me to be afraid. Trust me. But I always have said, if it is in my field, then it is for me. It is for me in one way, shape, or form. And as it so happened, it was exactly correct. So I'm going to read this again. G. Habya's job is to wave our imaginary fears in front of us, making them look as alive and real as he can. He's pretty good at this. The challenge he offers us is to see that certain fears of ours are imaginary and to distinguish them from things we actually need to be cautious about. In this way, he tries to teach us to look past the fear and see the realio trulio truth, whatever that is. It is a difficult job, and G. Habya, the Pook, Gotcha, and the Feline, and a few other hard-working fairies get together twice a week for otherworld nectar, hazelnuts, cheese, and applesauce, and to grumble about humans and to support each other. The work they do, hard as it is merely an apprenticeship for the much harder work for which they get to wear a starry crown, like Epona's wild daughter, which we had just yesterday. Oh my goodness. And Lise of the Shadows. It takes a lot of practice and skill in dealing with human flaws to get promoted to that level. If you could hear the stories they tell. It is time to look for the truth behind our fears, to distinguish between what is real and what is just our projection of old traumas and fears into our imaginary future. By delving into our old patterns, we can see past them to a more liberating life. Only by facing these fears honestly and seeing them for what they are do we gain greater ability to open our hearts and gain in strength to face the really difficult challenges in our lives. Each false fear confronted and resolved makes us much stronger. I do feel like that's a really true statement there. For me, just realizing that and knowing on a huge level that is so, false evidence appearing real, was such. Okay, wait a minute. This happened again, where another card actually was lying right here. I don't know how that's happening. It's like it appears out of nowhere. This happened yesterday too. And it happened with the Divine Animal Oracle. Okay, well, that's very interesting to me. And this one, the one that appeared here, is Prosperity, the peacock. Isn't that interesting? And this one is numerologically a 3. right? Yes, numerologically, this would be a 3. Very interesting, especially since the face that appears in here looks very Native American and for me, that's an ancestor. Very interesting. Okay, so we're going to go with that next. I got to see what that card's about because the fact that it just appeared right here when I moved that book. And the deck is over there. There's no way I didn't go anywhere near that deck. How interesting. I got to tell you, the wildest, coolest stuff seems to be happening to me of late. So there's, wow. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get over it when I got to Elena's circle last night and yesterday afternoon, and she shared that she was going to be partaking in that fire dance. And it's all about the ancestors and burning away that which you are not. And that was so much what that card was about yesterday. Oh my goodness. Okay, so card number 39, Peacock. And the key word here is prosperity. Prosperity is coming to you. A flow of abundance is on its way. Expect a new income stream. Okay, that's quite interesting on every level since I am on a fixed income and I will not charge for anything that I do. So that's kind of interesting. Clear the energy in your home or office. Do not be afraid of success. You can rise from difficult circumstances. Well, that I actually feel quite abundant already. You know, the ever since I changed my definition of what abundance actually is, and that is having what you need exactly when you need it. Anything else is really sort of hoarding, and I have been called a hoarder in my life. So I have to say that's very interesting. The mythos. The Indian peafowl is India's national bird and features in many stories within the Hindu pantheon. Okay, so that's not Native American, that's Hindu, a Hindu person I'm seeing there. Well, that makes sense with the bindi there on the head. Duh, Sheila. Okay, so the Indian peafowl is India's national bird and features in many stories within the Hindu pantheon. According to Hindu beliefs, the peacock was created from one of the feathers of the mythological bird Garuda. The god Shiva rides a peacock into battle. Krishna wears a peacock feather in his headband, and Indra sheltered from his enemies under the wing of a great peacock and rewarded it by creating 1,000 eyes upon its feathers so it would not have to worry about snakes ever again. It is the belief that peacock feathers bring prosperity to a house that links it with the benevolent Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of wealth, light, and general prosperity. Beautiful. Beautiful long-haired, sorry, I thought that was a period after that. No. Beautiful long-haired, golden-skinned, and dressed in red, she is commonly depicted surrounded by royal elephants. We just had elephants yesterday. Isn't that quite interesting? Showering her with a flow of abundant water, along with a river of gold coins pouring from her hands. She is sitting on a lotus, a flower that symbolizes an arising from difficult circumstances. Lakshmi is sometimes pictured with her son, the god Ganesha, which, like I said, we just had him yesterday. This is very interesting, who is the god of removing and placing obstacles. Her expression is invariably calm, graceful, and benevolent, which is sometimes the opposite of how we feel around money and our own finances. If you keep peacock feathers in your home, a flow of wealth will come to it, blessed by Lakshmi herself. This is especially important at Diwali, her biggest festival, which is also called the Festival of Lights. Oil lamps and candles are lit in every home, particularly inside and outside every shop and business. These lights are not only to honor the goddess, but also to draw her to the place for her blessing of prosperity. The feathers are also said to keep flies and other bad insects from the home and to invite in vibrant health. The animal. Peacocks are endemic to India and Sri Lanka and other countries in South Asia. They are an introduced species widely across the world. The females, or peahens, are smaller than the males and are a brown color. The males, the peacocks, have spectacular coloring and the famous many-eyed fan-shaped tail. Although there is some debate about the evolutionary function of the tail, it has been suggested that it indicates a male is vital and healthy and a good mate. When we see a peacock in a park or a zoo, we may not understand what a heavy burden its tail is. But if you get a chance to see a wild peacock, you understand that dragging such a weight around has to make the peacock more susceptible to predators and more ungainly in flight. The tail gets caught in brush, and it is conspicuous. Peacocks have a loud call and can be heard over long distances. The males have a sharp spur on the back of their lower legs that they use to battle each other over a female or territory. It is such a beautiful bird, but it is also a tough one. The magic. Peacock magic is shimmering and rich. It is the energy you call upon when you need more abundance in all areas of your life. Like the goddess Lakshmi, the peacock represents beauty and pure light. So when you need to clear your space, call upon this iridescent power. The symbology. Eyes, tail, feather, Shiva riding a battle peacock, peacock feather over the third eye. The status is of least concern. Now, something that I don't know for certain, but I've heard said, and I wish I could point to exactly where I'd heard this. It was a conversation that I had with Lisa Risingberry. It is also said that the peacock is able to ingest poison and transmute that. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know that. But there's something about that right there. When you think of abundance and also the the whole reasoning behind giving, I guess what it said there about how the God gave them the eyes, right? So they didn't have to worry about the snakes anymore. There's something to that. I don't know why, but at the minute I heard that about how the peacock could, or perhaps did, maybe it's a story that's been told. I can't quite remember exactly how it is, but that's really sort of symbolic in my view, very symbolic of, because honestly, what are a lot of the programs and conditioning that we had that we've all been subjected to, if not a form of poison that we then transmute into something else? And it can kill us, this poison, if we allow it to. And I just saw how jihabya really could come into play there with that, right? If we believe that it could, then it certainly would. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the swan next because the key word there is beauty for the swan. And that's card number 20, numerologically a 2. Beauty is all around us if we care to observe it. The natural world provides so much of it. However, remember, beauty is highly subjective. Love yourself first and know yourself. Look for the beauty in the situation. Ask, and your questions will be answered. And it is very subjective. That whole thing about how beauty is in the eye of the beholder really showed itself in a huge way for me personally. I saw this. Lisa and BZ and I had been having conversations about just that. And I had an experience where I had to have my driver's license renewed. And you know, historically, driver's license DMV photos are like some of the least nice looking photos. But the minute I laid eyes on my photo for my driver's license for the first time in my life, not only was it a good picture, but it was the best picture I think I've ever had taken. And you know what came to me? The young man who was taking my photo was flirting with me. He thought I was cute. Well, I call him young man. He was a little bit younger than me, but he was definitely flirting with me. And beauty, definitely in the eye of the beholder. What he was seeing definitely showed up on my driver's license, because if I showed it to you, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's like too good a picture for the DMV. So absolutely. And I mean, I think that I was shown that for a very specific reason, that is a saying for a reason. The mythos. It is the Greek god of light, music, healing, and prophecy, Apollo, who is most closely linked with the swan. Apollo's mother Leto caught the eye of the king of the gods, Zeus. She refused him, so he turned his form into a swan and seduced her. Leto gave birth under duress on the island of Delos to twins, both archers, the formidable Artemis and the beautiful Apollo. As the god of music, Apollo loved to hear great musicians play and would often come down to earth to hear and bless great music. One of his favorites was a human called Cygnus. For many years, Apollo listened to Cygnus' sublime music until one day Cygnus died. Sad that he would never hear such music again, Apollo turned Cygnus into a swan and elevated him into the night sky among the stars. This is how the constellation Cygnus came to appear in the sky. As a healer, referred to by the word Paean, Paean, Apollo had a chariot pulled by swans, and where possible, his temples had swans that had made their home there. Swans are associated with love and beauty in the Greek culture and were sacred, protected animals. It was also believed that swans would be mute until they were close to death. Then they would sing a stunningly haunting and beautiful song to the gods. This is the origin of the term swan song. The animal, there are 7 living species of swan, all having similar physical characteristics, including the long, elegant neck. 5 species are found in the northern hemisphere and 2 in the southern. All swans at one time were thought to be white, but then the Australian black swan was discovered. Swans do normally mate for life, but if a mate dies or is unable to breed, the other swan will find a new mate. Once constructed, nests are vigorously defended. There has even been an episode recorded of a human drowning when attacked by a swan defending its nest. The magic. Swan magic is pure and graceful. It is perfect to use for love workings and also when you finish to find more beauty. When you wish to find more beauty in our world. Everyone could do with a bit more beauty in their lives. The symbology, the lyra or a lyre, the Cygnus constellation, Apollo's chariot, Apollo riding a swan, Leto with a swan. Their status ranges from of least concern to threatened. Well, personally, I love the fact that the artist here decided to depict the woman with a blindfold. Because again, by what do we adjudge beauty? Is it looks? Is it treatment? And that's why for me, it's all in the eye of the beholder, the person who is taking it all in. I love that. Now we're going to move to this bull here. I can't hardly get over the fact that 3 cards came out for this one. And this one is sacrifice. All worthwhile things mean we must sacrifice something. Martyrdom is rarely a good choice. It is good to trust your tribe. Have faith that all will be well. Reciprocity and offering to something bigger than you is a powerful act. The mythos. There is little agreement upon the true origins of the cult of Mithras, partially due to its inherently hidden and mysterious nature, and the way that its rites and rituals were communicated through a tightly held hierarchical structure. What we know from the dark holy caverns called the Mithraeums is that men only met in the deepest wombs of the earth, numbering no more than 40 at a time, and conducted worship and rituals to enliven the god Mithras as he killed a sacrificial bull. The Tauroctony, spelled Tauroctony. This blood sacrifice was not just a symbol of laying down of life for a higher purpose, but a scene literally reflected in the night sky in the shape of the constellation Perseus and the goddess Luna. The snake eating its tail, Ouroboros, also featured around Mithras, indicating a never-ending cycle of creation, death, and rebirth. It is said that the handshake, a signal of a bond between men of peace and agreement, had its origins in Mithraic ritual, and that this was how the cult members found each other. Well, that's supposedly true of a lot of different secret societies, according to some, the type of handshake that they practice. It is no wonder, then, that Mithras became popular with the Roman soldier. War in those times was a bloody and serious business. A god who promoted honor between men of action, represented sacrifice for the greater good, and reflected a cycle of rebirth, was particularly relevant for those legions of fighting men who risked their lives for long periods for the glory of Rome. In ancient civilizations, the sacrificing of a bull was part of important ritual. Bulls were sacrificed as a valuable and important gift or offering to the gods, and sometimes to seal important pacts and vows. Time and again, in ancient texts, we learn of how important bull sacrifice was. In ancient Egypt, the Apis bull was probably one of the best examples of this. Apis was a god of fertility and was related to the god Ptah, Ptah. To honor the god, a real bull was affirmed as the Apis bull, a specially bred bull that represented the Apis on earth. These bulls were marked very distinctively and were carefully looked after. Wow, there's something specific trying to come in about this. When a sacred Apis bull died, it was a time of great mourning, and a series of huge rituals and festivals was undertaken. The new successor was observed very carefully for omens and signs of oracle interpretation. And the reason I'm saying this about, because what I'm getting, there's a lot in here that has to do with, again, secret societies, secret cults, symbologies. We've, in this modern day, in a lot of ways, we've moved away from that sort of thing, at least on the surface level. But have we? because they're, especially in the truther and conspiracy theory realm. And not to mention that we are close upon here now the feast of Baal, the feast days of Baal, which I believe begins April the 19th. I'm not quite certain of that, but there's something very specific about this, and I can't really put my finger on it, and perhaps more will come in. The animal here, officially a bull, is an intact male of the cattle family. Dependent upon the breed, they can be incredibly large and weigh up to 1,000 kilograms. They are magnificent animals, muscular and extremely strong, and most often with large curved horns. They represent fertility and power to even the most casual observer. Bulls have a reputation for having a short temper and a nasty temperament. But this is only true of those dairy breeds that have that predisposition. They will often put up a threat display that includes charging and pawing the ground. While this aggression is common, bulls have been recorded defending humans against other threats such as wolves. The magic. Most societies no longer sacrifice bulls like our ancestors did, but the concept of sacrifice remains. Bull energy can help you make the sacrifice you may need to make in order to support your work or something you desire. Bull magic can also be used to move yourself out of the sacrificial or martyrdom position you may have fallen into. Many of us continually sacrifice our own needs over and over and become unhealthily selfless as a result. This only breeds resentment and extreme neediness, which is very damaging to our own growth. Oh, that and so much more. The symbology: bull with horned sun disk, horns, handshake, man sacrificing a bull. The status of most breeds is of least concern. There is something very specific about this for some reason. The fact that it showed itself to me after I had already taken the beauty card, that and this prosperity card, both of these cards sort of just showed up, right? But there's something about this one that's not fully formed, but really wants me to pay close attention to it for some reason. And I feel like over the next few days, in particular, specifically because we are moving into the feast days of the Feast of Baal, that sort of thing. Because there are, according to a lot of conspiracy theories, there are still cults on the planet who practice different types of sacrifice during those feast days. And quite frankly, this Sunday is actually Easter. And wouldn't you imagine that from one point of view, the Christ was a sacrifice in many ways. So there's something very specific about this. I just don't know what. It's not totally revealing itself to me in this moment of now. Surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to, quote, make things happen, then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And quite frankly, that whole do all that you can to, quote, make things happen, for me, I can't get behind that anymore. That too is a bit of a programmed condition, because I have found myself trying to make things happen that really weren't for me. They didn't apply to me. They don't, and it certainly wasn't what brought me joy. So, but I do agree of letting go to the attachment of results. Because if I'm moving towards that which brings me joy, I don't have to worry how it's going to turn out. It's going to turn out exactly the way it's meant to turn out. And I can't, again, I keep being shown I can label stuff all I want to in the moment when it's happening. That does not mean I'm correct, because I've also been shown quite clearly how I have not been correct on a lot of different things in the moment as they're happening, only to find out exactly what it was about later on. Okay, so card number 68, drop into your heart, from the Journey of Love deck. There is a place of light within that no darkness can touch. It cannot be shamed. It can never be made impure. It is never lost or darkened or unavailable to us, though we may forget sometimes, sitting in a darkened room and not realizing that we can stand up and walk into the light so close to us, just on the other side of the doorway to the heart. Whatever may arise, great joy, great sorrow, drop into your heart and offer it to the divine, gently bowing your forehead to your hands in prayer. Connect mind to heart. Let yourself have some peace. It wants you, you know. This oracle brings you an offering. The divine would like you to offer whatever is bringing your heart trouble, or, of course, joy. The divine would like to receive this from you as a gift, that it may return to you some special blessing. Place your hands at your heart, and in genuine reflection, perhaps you may choose to offer your heart burden or light now. Either will be joyfully received by the divine, and you shall be graced with a gift in return. This is something that I can speak to for myself quite plainly, because I keep being shown that it is all for me, no matter what I label it in the moment as it's going on. Oh, I think it's a mistake, or I think it's a horrific thing, but it's not at its fullness yet. And maybe that's a function of being 63. I don't know. But not everything is shown in the moment. If it's in the middle of the recipe and the recipe isn't done, then it might take a minute to get to the actual done part. And so dropping into the heart, which I now get, for the longest time, I was like, what the hell do you mean? I don't get it. What are you talking about? Trust me when I tell you that. Uh, there's a little poem here, Longing. The dance to move beyond the feeling that draws me forward to a place born within that calls my soul to feel complete. Yeah, see, for me, there's this. It's like I have absolutely surrendered my attachment to results, and I just now know with all of me, it's a work in process, and the universe has got it, man. I've got this. We've all got this. We can't make a mistake. We can label it that if we wanna, if we must. I cause myself way more suffering by thinking, oh, this is it. It's the end of the world. I just don't know. Trust me when I tell you the overly dramatic child that I have always been, right? Uh, but that's not how it works. It's just really not. And I'm so grateful to finally see that now. Boy, when they talk about a peace that passes all understanding, that's it right there. That is it in a nutshell. So I neglected to pull the hero's journey card, and I'm gonna but we've got this card and then one more. Land Mountain Star on page 81, which is a 9 numerologically. 81. Land Mountain Star. There we go. The compilation of the energies that have carried you through the initiations you have already endured, lessons you've learned, and the obstacles you've overcome form a powerful and mighty toolkit that will support you through future challenges. When you take inventory of all the things you've made it through, you will realize that the courage, the strength, and the resourcefulness that supported you through those difficult times are still with you now. Oh, trust me when I tell you that's a true statement. Oh, yeah. These tools you've gathered from the difficulties of the past serve as armor that protects you and as tools that will allow you to navigate the unknown that lies before you now. When you choose, remember to call forth the tools and the gifts that carried you through those hardships and those experiences as you face the challenges that are heading your way instead of reacting in fear and confusion. Then you will triumph over yet another soul initiation like the lit leader that you are. Wow. There's, again, I think it's partially a function of my age, but I see now very clearly for myself where uh, and in all honesty, there's a lot of things about myself and my journey, my story that I really don't know how it is I survived, but survive I did, and you know that's just it. The universe said, "Well, but did you die?" And the truth of it is, no, I didn't. No, as a matter of fact, I didn't. I am still here. And trust me, there's been a lot. And I am someday, at least I've been told by my own guidance and several different psychics that I'm supposed to write a book, but I don't know how to write. That's, but I guess it will at some point, making the Oklahoma boy hungry. Wish I had a buffalo steak and eggs. I don't have a, I've had ground bison, but I've never had actually a steak. I think that would be lovely to try. It's certainly something that's being offered in North Carolina. There's a couple of different farms that have been cultivating as a food source specifically, all grass fed, which is lovely. This one wanted to come out. You hold the key to an awakened life. Set yourself free. Well, that's a true statement right there. Each one of us hold the key for ourselves, and it's right there for the taking. It really is. This is card number 41, which is a 5 numerologically all about change for me. There is so it says, you hold the key to an awakened life, set yourself free. There's a quote here from somebody named Don Coyhis, Coyhis, don't know who that is. The Great Spirit has many ways of communicating with the human being. It comes in the form of dreams, imagination, intuition, inspiration, or a hunch. We need to pay attention to our dreams. And I would say not just the dreams, because I think our dreams are way more than what they've been touted as, because I also have been exposed to folks' dreams where I have a very huge sense that this is something that is playing out in another realm. I have had my own experiences with dreams where clearly I am me, and yet I caught a glimpse of me as a reflection, and it wasn't me, but it was me. And the beings whom I were with, I recognized their energy as somebody I know in this life, but it wasn't them in that dream. It was their energy, their mannerisms. It was them. And so that was one of the reasons why I started a segment on Conscious Conversation Central called Dream Space, because I think the dream space is way more than just a place for the psyche to work things out. It can also be a place where you're experiencing yourself in other realms, doing other things that we do, that we are, because we exist in more than one realm at once, I feel. So there's a message here with this. There are dreams you wish would never end. Like when you're finally getting into the groove of flying, making love to an amazing dream partner, or winning the lottery. Take heart in knowing these dreams, as well as wonderful life experiences, aren't over just because you wake up. While you remember your dream, it remains alive and well. It can even grow to become larger and more substantial over time. All the events that take place in your daytime and nighttime dreams are attempts to awaken your core strengths, gifts, and genius. Remembering who you are, thus valuing who you are, is the key to living an awakened life. You wake up when you consciously, quote, remember or put back together your true identity as an infinite spiritual being, powerful beyond measure, and heir to all the blessings this earth has to offer. And there's a dream symbol here of a key. A key in a dream is a sign the answers, opportunities, access, secrets, freedom, control, knowledge, and power that you seek are at your fingertips. You have the key that can open any locked up area of your mind, body, or spirit and set you free. This may be a message to unlock your heart and share your talent, love, and beauty with the world. There's a mantra here. I hold the key to an awakened life of love, magic, and treasure beyond measure. Kind of interesting the way this card depicts there. That person could almost be considered lamenting over something, right? Kind of what we were speaking on before. Well, I hope this was helpful if you were here live or if you stumble across this later as it replays or whatever, and you feel drawn here. I'm sure there will be something for you. These readings are most definitely for me. I mean them to be for the collective and anyone else who feels drawn here in the moment. There will at least be something for you, I'm pretty sure. So, all of that being said, in everything that I've been doing of late, I put ways in the show more section, the description of the video about how you might assist our Krystle Hemphill, who will be having spinal surgery on May the 19th. And every little bit helps. And all you have to do, I also did a standalone video that gives you a little tour of the New Light Streaming.love website and how to access all of the designs and products that Krystle has created. She is a single mom, and while she will be unable to go to her regular job, her 9 to 5, so to speak, while she's recovering from that surgery, the things that she offers from her metaphysical and creative side of her are all there for you to take advantage of. And if you have felt to work with me in any capacity, I'm doing all of the things that I offer, and any love offerings that I receive will be going to Krystle for the next foreseeable future. So any and all of that is much appreciated. And if you feel called to be subscribed, that's lovely and wonderful. And hit the notification bell so that when I go live, you're made aware of that. I want to do a live intuitive hangout session, and one of these days it will come about, I promise, because I really do miss that, and I am being called back to it. So it might even be a little earlier in the afternoon or something. So just be subscribed to both places. I can tell you right now that when I do the next one, it will be held at Sassy Seer Sheila, which I'm going to do it again right now, Mark. So it's in there. All you have to do is I'm just going to comment hello. And just the very fact that I put that in there, all you have to do is click on my name, Sassy Seer Sheila, and it should take you immediately to my standalone channel that is not the New Light Streaming Love. And you can subscribe and hit the notification bell and all of that there. And that's it for this one. I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of your perspective and your perception of your perspective. And okay, great, Mark. See you guys next time. Be well. Mwah.